Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. So, fun fact, this video and the past three videos, I think they were the Prime Minister timeline, the 2024 campaign trail poll video, the worst versus the worst, and now this one. It's all been recorded in one day. Why? Because why the fuck not? So, today we're going to be doing my updated gubernatorial prediction. It's been a while since I've done one. I think it was August since I've last done one. I think. So we're now going to do it. And we're going to go east to west and see, you know, uh, election stuff. Sorry, my brain fizzled out. It's 9:30 at night. I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. Let's start off with Maine, go all the way to Oregon. Maine is going to be likely Democrat. Paula Page is a really good candidate. And, however, right now, he did have a poor debate performance. It seems like that is the general consensus. However, he is known to be this juggernaut in the state, like the Rick Scott of his state, who barely wins elections. It is a red wave year. It is, but Mills is currently leading in the polls by eight. I think she's going to win by 5 at the end of the day. That's just the general consensus. It'll probably get a lot closer as we get closer to the election, but as of right now, it's going to be likely Democrat. And no explanation here. Both the Twin States, Vermont and New Hampshire. It's kind of interesting. Sununu and Scott were both elected in 2016, and they both won by likely margins in 2018, and then they both landslided in 2020. It's very interesting, don't you think? The Twin States kind of have twin governors, if you think about it. Both very popular. Massachusetts, this state could be a lot closer than what people are expecting. Right now, I have Maura Healey winning by 25. Jeff Deal is loved by the ancestral liberal Republicans in the state of Massachusetts. I'm not joking. In Blue Wave year 2018, he made Elizabeth Warren only win the state by 22. She underperformed Hillary Clinton in the state of Massachusetts. And she lost a county to Jeff Deal, which you gotta think. Clinton won every single county in 2016. Warren lost a county in 2018 in a blue wave year. Jeff Deal is no one to sleep on. However, ever since he's aligned himself with Trump, that could be different. Obviously, it could be very, very, very different. He's a Rockefeller Republican through and through. I'm pretty sure he's more of a left winger than Charlie Baker is. Maybe a bit more conservative on economic issues, but don't sleep on this race. Expect Jeff Deal to win a county or two here. So just, I have Healy winning by 25. Next up is a state that has once been safe Democrats, now becoming competitive, and that's the state of Rhode Island. Polling for this race has shown that Rhode Island is becoming more and more competitive by the day. Dan McKee has a very low approval rating. I think it's like 41% or less. So, and he's running up against Ashley Callis, who is a socially moderate, economically populist. So she's a right-wing, moderate populist Republican. So she'll win the second congressional district, same as Alan Fung. She'll underperform Alan Fung, but she'll win the second district. So I have Dan McKee winning by 6. It's a very socially moderate, economically progressive state, Rhode Island is, but I think Dan McKee is going to win by 6 at the end of the day. Now, it pains me to say this about Connecticut. It pains me. Likely Democrats. Bob Stefanowski is an amazing candidate. He is. He's just not running the best campaign compared to 2018. He needs to start talking about kitchen table issues and talking to independents. He shouldn't start talking to Democrats. Democrats will come naturally to him like they did in 2018. But as of right now, I think Ned Lamont wins by 6. Same margin as Dan McKee. This race could become closer. It could become closer. We could be saying a massive polling error, but as of right now, I think it's going to be a likely D state. Another flip for the Democrats, that being the state of Maryland. Honestly, I think both candidates are god awful. They're both bad. But I think Westmore wins by 24 at the end of the day. I think that's what I have down on my notes. But because Dan Cox is a pretty bad fit for the state. Honestly, they're both a bad fit for the state if you think about it. But it is what it is. Next up is a state that on paper shouldn't be competitive, but is going to be competitive, and that's the state of New York. New York, Kathy Hochul is currently barely scratching 52% in any of the polls. last time she was at 55% was a PPP poll, if I'm not mistaken. But Lee Zeldin is probably going to do very well upstate. He's going to do very well in New York City. Um, Actually, Hochul is going to do very well in her home state of home city of Buffalo, upstate, and you might have a surrounding area of effect there. While Lee Zeldin will have sort of an area of effect down here in New York City. Right now, I have Hochul winning by 7 overall. Very competitive for the state of New York. And of course, RCP has turned this race to toss-up. I don't know why they do that. I have it as likely Democrat. Of course, this race is becoming more and more competitive as the days go on. Lee Zeldin needs to barnstorm the state if he wants to win, because Hochul is god-awful. Her entire governorship has just been Trump, 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 and she's been hit with scandal after scandal after scandal, along with her lieutenant governors. So it's a very corrupt administration, and she just got in. Next up is Pennsylvania. This is safe Democrat. Doug Mastriano is a fucking awful candidate. He's god-awful, far right. He's not even a populist. I don't know why these right-wing populists jerk him off so much. He's not even a populist. He's a neocon on economics. It's god-awful. It's like, I support tax cuts. What about protectionism? I support free trade. What? Anyway. I have Shapiro winning by 10 right now. This race could end up going back to likely D. It could go down to lead D. We could be seeing a massive polling error from the west side of Pennsylvania like we have in the past. Though I don't know, I don't see it being this big of a polling error so close to election day. Watch, tomorrow we're going to get a poll with Mastriano leading by a point or two, and it's going to be like, oh, Celtic politics took another L. It's like, yeah, I did. Next up is another state that is going to be safe, and that's Mike DeWine's seat in Ohio. He's going to win by like 25 here. He's super popular. He's not going to lose to Nate Whaley, who's running an awful campaign. Tennessee, that's safe. South Carolina, safe. Alabama, and Florida. Ron DeSantis is very popular for a swing state in Florida. Florida is becoming more and more right-leaning. Charlie Crist is running an awful campaign. His lieutenant governor pick is literally someone who mourned Fidel Castro. Like, you think people are just going to be like, yeah, that's fine. No, it's not fine. He's a fucking dictator. Thank God he died. She's going to get crushed. He's going to get crushed in southern Florida. Miami-Dade is going red this year. Just watch. Georgia, that's going to be likely Republican. Kemp's going to win by 5. Stacey Abrams not running a good campaign. Similar to Bob Stefanowski, she's pandering, nothing else. Next up is a state I thought was going to be safe for Democrat, and then, it's being bumped down to likely Democrat. I think this state is, I think the reason why we're seeing Tudor Dixon do so bad in the state is because she hasn't been doing a good campaigning like James Craig. She hasn't been doing ads in the state. She isn't campaigning as much as she should be. She's still in, primary election stages, and she's now transitioning into general election phase with the whole adding or the ads, and she's debating now, and she's talking to news sources and all that, meeting voters. This state will most likely get into lean D or toss-up territory by the time we get to the election, but right now I'm going to have Whitmer winning by 8 percentage points or more. Illinois, this is a state that could become competitive. Right now I have J.B. Pritzker winning by 10 points. This state absolutely might become competitive. Darren Bailey would do very well in downstate, as well as with libertarian voters, as a lot of libertarians I speak to from the state of Illinois are like, yeah, this guy's good. This guy, he's a very libertarian Republican. He will do very well in the rural areas. He might max out in Illinois, the rural areas in I can't speak. He might max out in the rural areas in Illinois, which, this race could become competitive. Right now it's a 10-point victory for J.B. Pritzker. Next up is going to be Wisconsin. They might be like, wait, Wisconsin won't be likely because Tony Evers is leading in polling. Well, guess what? Joe Biden led in polling by 8 points and barely won the state, so what's your point? Hillary Clinton was leading the state by 8 points in 2020 or 2016, and she lost the state to Donald Trump. What is your point? Tim Michels is going to win the state by 7 points. He'll do very well in the Fox cities and the WoW counties. He'll do very well with white working class voters. He'll do well in Mike Gallagher's district. He'll do well in Tom Tiffany's district. He'll do very well all across the board. He just won't do well in the urban areas, which he'll get fucking crushed. Next up is Minnesota. This race is a Republican's wet dream to flip, but I just don't see it happening. The Twin Cities way too big, and this isn't a normal midterm election. This is going to be a massive turnout for a midterm election. We typically see very low turnout for a midterm election. Here, we're going to see quite a bit of turnout because it's not going to be a normal turnout or midterm election. And Minnesota probably goes to Tim Walz by 6 to 8 points. Scott Jensen's not running. He's running an okay campaign. I'm not going to say he's running a bad campaign, just an okay one. Next up, Iowa, Kim Reynolds. She's probably going to outperform Chuck Grassley. That's what the current polls are saying. She's going to win by 20 points or more. Sarah Sanders, she'll win easily here in Arkansas. South Dakota, Kristi Noem will win re-election, but she'll outperform or underperform Donald Trump by a lot. She's not popular here. However, it's still a Republican state in a Republican-leaning environment that I am predicting an R+4 national environment, by the by. She'll win by like 17. Pillen, he'll also win by 17. He'll outperform Donald Trump. Carol Blood's a pretty good candidate for Nebraska. Next up is Kansas. This race is becoming very competitive. It's been a very competitive race, but it's going to be lean Republicans. Schmidt's going to win by 2 points. I don't like Derek Schmidt, very establishment Rotarian Republican, very establishment. I guess he's a good fit for Kansas. I don't know. Laura Kelly has pretty good approval. She has a 55% approval rating. However, I don't think she'll be able to overcome the Republican-leaning environments. Next up, Oklahoma. Anyone saying this race is likely Republican is out of their god-flippin' mind. This is a safe Republican state. Stitt is winning by 18 points or more. Calm the fuck down. Okay, next is Texas. This race is also safe. People are just freaking out. Like, people just freak out when I put Texas as safe. It's like, it's not going to be safe. Abbott's not going to win by safe. He's going to win by 12 points. Calm the hell down. Okay, next, Wyoming, Idaho, two very popular governors here in these states. They're not losing, especially in a Republican-leaning year. Alaska, I see these people saying Alaska's going to be competitive, but the polling says otherwise. Dunleavy's probably going to win on the second ballot by 20 points. That's just the fact of the matter. So, sorry to tell you that. Hawaii, I've said it before, I think this race is going to be a lot more competitive than people are saying it is, but I have no proof to back it up. I think Josh Green is going to win by 22 points here in the end of the day. Jared Polis, he's probably going to outperform Biden in the state of Colorado. He's very popular, very economically moderate. He's cut taxes in the past. He's actually done it recently, not in the past, but he probably wins by 17. Now, this one pains me because we haven't had any good polling for Mark Ronchetti. He realistically needs to be leading in the polls in order for him to be favored in this race. Right now I have Michelle Lujan Grisham winning by 8. She's a god-awful governor. Very scandalous. She should be a sex offender, if you want my honest opinion. However, since she's a woman, people have told that guy just to grow up, even though he got groped by her. I hate the double standard here. I really do. It makes me hate people. But it's awful. Even though I do think Hispanics are going to trend hard to the right, especially with Mark Ronchetti. This state could flip. I just haven't seen enough indicating it's going to flip. Next up is Arizona. A lot of people have been saying that Kari Lake is a bad fit. She's going to outperform Blake Masters, and she's going to win by like 1 or 2 points. Katie Hobbs is running a terrible candidate. She's running to the very, very far right, far left. Honestly, I could see this race going safe Republican if this continues. Again, we need just good polling from like Emerson, Marist, Trafalgar, Fox. We just need some good polling instead of like PPP and Morning Consult and these other garbage pollsters. Kari Lake probably going to win by 1 or 2 by the end of the day. Katie Hobbs, god-awful campaign. Next up, probably to the right of Arizona, Joe Lombardo is probably going to win by 2. A good candidate, Clark County, the most populous county in the state. He's from there. He was elected there, albeit it was a non-partisan race, but he still won, very popular in Clark County. He's probably going to beat Steve Sisolak, who has pretty abysmal, well, not abysmal, just below average approval ratings. Next up is California. Now, it would be very hypocritical for me to say, oh, the power outage is going to affect Newsom, when I have said in the past the power outages would not affect Abbott, so I'm not going to say that. And the fact is, it's not going to affect Newsom because he's still leading by quite a big margin. Most likely because the Republicans haven't centered around Brian Dahl yet, and even if they did, it still wouldn't be enough for Dahl to make this race competitive. Newsom's going to win by 22 or 22 to 24 by the end of the day. Now, you might call me crazy here, I've seen so many bad takes with this race. It's unbelievable. I've seen takes like, "Oh, Betsy Johnson is running a right-wing campaign." I'm like, "Are you fucking stupid?" I'm not gonna say who said that. I'm not, but it was like it made me just want to kill myself because that was such a bad take when we had so much polling saying the opposite. She's not running a left-wing campaign. She's not running a right-wing campaign. She's running a very libertarian campaign. That is what she is doing. Except on the homelessness issue. She is anything but libertarian on homelessness. But and Kate Brown is the most unpopular governor in the country. Oregon might be 16 points Democrat, but we've got a vote splitter in Betsy Johnson who is taking votes away from both Drazen and Kotek. Tina Kotek is unpopular as well. Christine Drazen is at least untested. I think she wins by 6 points in Oregon, a likely margin. And I know it's like, Oregon likely Republican? What are you smoking? And I'm smoking everything. And I will bet on my leg this that I'm right, that Oregon is likely Republican, or at least they'll go lean Republican in November. Hell, it might go safe Republican. Who knows? I honestly want Betsy Johnson to win just so we'd have an independent governor. But anyway. So, thank you guys so much for watching. What do you think of my prediction? Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I'm insane? Tell me down in the comments below. This is the Chaotic One saying peace.